Hello, this is Storydive, back again doing a quick discussion video about a potential sequel to one of my favorite films, that being the 1986 film directed by Jim Henson, Labyrinth. Just to let you know, I am not making this video in response to any breaking news. There have been rumors about a Labyrinth sequel for decades now. Around 2 years or so ago, there was a small buzz about a potential Labyrinth sequel when Fede Alvarez, the director of the 2013 Evil Dead remake and the 2016 film Don't Breathe, announced that he had written a sequel for Labyrinth and was developing it with TriStar Pictures. Later he announced that he had also discussed it with Lisa Henson of the Henson Company, and also I believe Duncan Jones, the director and son of David Bowie, was also interested in the project at one point or another. This video, however, is inspired by a conversation I had with a friend of mine. We're both 80s movies nerds and have a special love for Henson movies like Dark Crystal and Labyrinth. Because of the success of Dark Crystal Age of Resistance on Netflix, we were pondering whether or not the same thing could be done with Labyrinth. Fede Alvarez's project may still be in development hell, but maybe Age of Resistance might give a Labyrinth sequel a kind of a boost and push it to a point where it might actually be made, maybe even as a series with Netflix rather than a feature film. In fact, the writers and producers of Age of Resistance, Jeffrey Addis and Will Matthews, originally wanted to pitch a Labyrinth sequel completely separate from the Fede Alvarez one to the Jim Henson Company, but they were turned down. With the success of Age of Resistance, maybe they'll pick that concept back up. During the discussion with my friend, two main questions arose. First was, how would you do a Labyrinth sequel or prequel? And also, if that project brought back the character of Jareth the Goblin King, would it be possible to recast the character with another actor? Of course, the original actor who played Jareth, David Bowie, has sadly passed away. David Bowie's performance in that film was so unique and almost custom-made for someone like him. It seems hard to imagine anyone else playing that role. But in this video, I'm going to ponder that anyway. The plot details of Alvarez's script for Labyrinth 2 were not released, but it was implied in a Deadline article that the film would not include the character of Jareth and possibly also not even the character of Sarah. That gave me a great deal of pause because I'm not sure how you could do a sequel or a prequel to Labyrinth without at least one of those characters in it. To me, the story is like a retelling of Lewis Carroll's Through the Looking Glass, and very much like that novel, it serves as an allegory for the inner conflict of the character of Sarah. In fact, I believe you can pretty much break down every character in the film as representing an issue that Sarah needs to work through as she finds her way into adulthood. Basically, it's a coming-of-age allegory. So my thoughts are, if you were going to do a sequel, you could do it a few ways. One would be you replace the character of Sarah with another character, perhaps someone like Toby, while he's approaching adulthood. In fact, there's a manga based on Labyrinth that does just that. Another way to do it would be to have Sarah return to the Labyrinth because she is working through another stage of her life. And once again, the Labyrinth becomes like a metaphor for her to find her way through it. If you were going to do it that way, it's possible you could replace Jareth the Goblin King with another character in the same world, because Jareth as a metaphor represents something that Sarah was working through as a child, and now that she's an adult, she's working through something else which will be represented by another character. Another option would be to do a prequel, much like Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, that perhaps follows Jareth in this world before he became the Goblin King. So if they were going to do a prequel, it would have to have some connection to a character, IRL, like Sarah, but it could be someone other than Sarah. Perhaps even Sarah's mother, who in the film Labyrinth has died at some point before the movie. There are some allusions to Sarah's mother in Sarah's room in Labyrinth. It kind of hints that she was an actress, and there's even a picture with someone that looks like Bowie standing next to her. So a prequel could sort of explore that a little bit, the origins of the Goblin King with Sarah's mother. Of course, if it fits with the timeline of Labyrinth, we know ultimately Sarah's mother will die young, which is a little depressing, but Dark Crystal Age of Resistance is also in a very similar place. For fans like me, it's hard to imagine a Labyrinth sequel without Jareth. He is so much at the heart of that story. It's hard to imagine any version of Labyrinth working without that character. So I put the question out to you first of all, could a Labyrinth sequel or prequel work? And if so, what would the story be? The second question is, if the film did bring back Jareth the Goblin King, could the character be recast with another actor? Is there anybody who could do that character justice other than David Bowie? I spent a little bit thinking about this and I came up with a list. But before I go over my list of potential Jareths, I want to be clear that no actor can play the character like David Bowie. He was an extremely unique human being in many ways. That being said, when I made this list, I had a few points of criteria that each actor had to have. Those points are, firstly, they have to be a good actor, they have to be able to sing. Like the original Labyrinth, it's got to be a musical. They have to have a sort of mysterious attractiveness. Not exactly like Bowie, but similar. And the final point of criteria, it would be nice if they were a creative force outside of simply acting and singing, a creator in the general sense, like Bowie. After I made these points of criteria, I realized that nobody can fill all of them. Again, Bowie was very unique. So all the actors I have on the list fill in at least 2 of these criteria, and some 3, but nobody all 4. So I'll go over the list. And by the way, don't take this too seriously, this is just for fun. Number 1, Jared Leto, because his name already kind of sounds like Jareth. Okay, no, because he is a legitimately very good actor. His role as Joker in Suicide Squad aside, he can sing. I can't say I'm a fan of 30 Seconds to Mars, but they are a legit rock band, and he does a great job on the vocals. On top of that, he does have a sort of mysterious, attractive quality, so definitely a possibility. Number 2, Nicholas Hoult. Again, he's a very good actor. He's not known for his singing, but he has sung in certain roles, like in Skins, and he's good. Maybe not Bowie good, but he's got pipes on him. In terms of his look, I actually think out of all the people on this list, Hoult's look is the most similar to Bowie. I think he could bring a very similar vibe, especially if he was in a prequel and was playing a young Jareth. Number 3, Donald Glover. Yes, you heard me right. Donald is a great singer. He can also act. I wouldn't say he necessarily has that mysterious attractiveness I alluded to. Not that I'm an expert at judging that anyway. Even in his own projects, he tends to write himself as the cute guy rather than the mysterious guy. But I wanted to include him on this list because he's the only one on the list who is a pop icon changing the landscape of music, like Bowie. He's sort of an innovator and creator like Bowie was. Plus, he can act and sing, so... Number 4, Taron Egerton. He really only fills out 2 of the criteria. He's a good actor, and in Rocket Man he proved he can sing as well. Maybe doesn't quite have the Goblin King look, but with some makeup and stuff, who knows. The reason I put him on here is because I saw him talk about his character Rian in the documentary about the making of Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, and he exposed the fact that he is a Jim Henson fan. He's a big fan of Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, so it would be nice to have someone who is a genuine fan in the role because you know they take it seriously. Finally, number 5, gonna go a bit meta with this one, Paul Bettany. Paul Bettany is a great actor. I think he can pull off the Jareth look, the mysterious thing. I've never heard him sing, so I have no idea if he can sing. But if they can sign Paul Bettany, they can definitely get his wife, Jennifer Connelly, to come back as Sarah. It would be kind of weird because it would be like Sarah married Jareth. But I kind of like that weirdness. I think it might work with the right script. Those are my possible casting choices for the role of Jareth the Goblin King. What actor or even actress do you think could play Jareth the Goblin King? Or do you think the role cannot be played by anyone else other than Bowie, and therefore a Labyrinth prequel or sequel should not include the Jareth character? Or maybe even should not be made at all? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more discussion videos like this one, as well as breakdowns of your favorite movies and TV. Check out these other videos, and thanks for watching. Until next time.